Hello. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Tonight we have Kyle Chapman, bass Stickman, with us. I hope you all tune in. It's going to be an exciting show. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about events. We're going to talk about what bass Stickman has going on. And we're going to talk about America and the state. Hey, Kyle, thank you for joining me. You there? Look like we're having technical difficulties.
Can you hear me, bud?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Testing. You got me there?
Yep, you're good. You're good. So
All right.
hopefully you'll stay in. So I gave a little introduction, just saying, we're going to talk about America and the state of America, and we're going to talk about just different things. Do you want to go ahead for the people that that's on my channel or on my Facebook? You want to go ahead and introduce yourself and what you're doing and what you have in the works?
Sure. My name is Kyle Chapman, also known as, or some people call me the Alt Knight. I didn't pick those names. They were given to me after my actions at the Battle of Berkeley, where I was arrested and charged with 5 felonies for defending myself and my fellow right-wing brothers and sisters. Most of you have probably heard about the Battle of Berkeley by now, the 2 battles. So since then, I'm trying to leverage this bit of internet celebrity to try to forward my message and our president's message of American nationalism, and raise awareness about communism and neo-Marxism, Antifa, and leftist violence. And also all rolled in with that.
Say, Kyle. So, Kyle, let me see.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay? So your connection is like...
I can hear you.
Yeah, all of a sudden your connection is like getting really bad. So
okay,
it's kind of interesting. I want to make sure everyone is hearing what you're saying. So go ahead.
Okay. Just so you know, this happens in a lot of my interviews.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, this happens in a lot of my interviews, man. So this is nothing new. It seems like there's somebody out there that is doing something to try to disrupt my interviews. This is probably the 4th time this has happened.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it seems to be okay right now. So we'll try to work it out. So what you were saying is that you have a lot of labels, not labels that you picked up yourself, but people just started calling you these different labels, like the alt-right, the alt-right, etc. Yeah, it looks like we're having a really bad connection with you there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Not sure how long that's going to last.
We'll try to get through this. How's the connection? Are we blurry?
So far, you're okay.
Okay. So while I was in jail, within a couple days, a lot of really strong supporters, people came out and supported me. They created memes, and I became Bass Stickman, the Alt Knight, Captain Texas. I mean, there's a bunch of names. Bass Stickman is the one that seems to have stuck, so that's the one I'm rolling with. And I've taken the Alt Knight name, and what I've done with that is I've created a fraternal order. It's called Fraternal Order of the Alt Knights Folk, and that is a street action group that I'm forming here in the United States to, peacefully and defensively protect our right-wing brothers and sisters while they rally, march, and/or protest, and then to also confront the communists known as Antifa, BAM, anarchists, the anarchist black bloc, to confront those people and let them know will not stand down while they try to implement their evil ideology in our country.
So all this started out because of your incident that took place in Berkeley.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember when that first took place, I remember seeing it all over social media. And I'm not sure who took the picture, but someone took the picture and blew it up and blurred out with you holding the stick there.
Yeah.
And you had the mask on. And everyone's wondering, like, who's the guy under the mask? Who's the guy under the mask? I remember that. So let me ask you a question. So I noticed, do you think that, I know you're up against like the Antifa and the BAM and stuff like that. So you're coming out with a magazine or a comic book. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, we're coming out with a comic book. It's just based Stickman. It's actually going to be more of a graphic novel than a comic book. I've got a great team of artists put together. Brett R. Smith, he was the colorist on Clinton Cash. That's the graphic novel that was based on Peter Schweitzer's book, Clinton Cash, detailing the corruption of the Clintons. I've got two-time Eisner Award winner Mike Barron, who is also working on it. He is the writer. I've got Don Jackson and a whole host of other guys. In fact, we just brought on a new artist by the name of Daishang. He is considered one of the most successful artists in China and Europe. One of the most successful comic book artists.
Nice.
And so, yeah, if you're interested, you can go to Base Stickman, the graphic novel, on Facebook, and you can get a better idea of what we're doing. We should have the Indiegogo campaign up and running within the next 3 weeks.
Okay, cool. Let's change speeds here a little bit. So I know a lot of people, because they gave you all these different labels, the different names like the alt-right, the alt-right, etc. When you listen to the liberal left, the first thing they say is that you guys are racist and that you're fascist. And you know what? And every time that I've talked to you, even before when you had the Berkeley rally, I had a conversation with you on the phone. And when I was at the Berkeley rally before, I never got that vibe from you. I never had that, that you were racist. You never approached me that way, and you never talked to me that way. So, I like to set the record straight. For anyone that doesn't know Kyle Chapman, every time I've had a conversation with him, he's never been. I would have never thought of you being racist. Never in a million years. And and these people, they give the label just because I think they do it because they want to be hateful and they want to try to shut you down as much as possible. And I've said in my videos before that I'm always against the violence. But I understand how people in America are getting to the point where they're fed up with these people coming out and they're being harmful. So at some point, you have to protect yourself. And when we have like the Berkeley rallies, no one on the American side, the supporting Trump, was the aggressors. It's always the ones that showing up with these black masks on, throwing the rocks, trying to hit people, trying to harm people. And then we have people like you that's actually defending, and they're sitting there, and you hear it all throughout the videos. Hold the line, hold the line.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I think the right is pretty used to this slander tactic by playing the race card on somebody, trying to label them as a racist. They did that to our president his entire election campaign. They still do it to him now.
Right.
They literally print out flyers and they have pictures of our Asian supporters, and they call them neo-Nazi, Jong Young, and he's a 100% Asian guy, and then they're really trying to describe this guy as a neo-Nazi, and then they're wheat pasting flyers of this poor kid all over Berkeley. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Really?
Man.
So they're putting flyers of an Asian dude all over Berkeley, calling him a neo-Nazi.
Well, he's a picture. He's a small picture in one of many pictures that are on the same flyer. And they're basically calling everybody Nazis, fascist, and racist. And there's like an Asian kid that was
one of those people, and they called him a neo-Nazi. So, this is something they've been doing for a long time. I don't bite into it. The whole racism card doesn't have teeth anymore. People just aren't buying into that shit. I'm not going to sit there and disavow and continually defend myself. I think my actions have spoken for themselves. People like you that know me, that have met me, they know that I'm not with that nonsense. So it is what it is, man.
Yeah, you see a lot of the liberal left, they always trying to use that to keep division, trying to keep us divided. And actually, because a lot of people that are on the right or call themselves conservatives, they listen to what the media says and they automatically kind of like follow suit and start calling we start calling each other these hateful names, calling each other fascists and stuff like that. And I don't want to get into like a whole bunch of details, but when we had our United America First Peace rally, there was an incident at the end of it. I don't want to get into much detail about it. And because if you ever notice, when I do my lives and my videos, I don't ever talk about like kind of like drama that's going on. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know there was a conflict, because here I'm thinking that, that there's no conflict because we all love America. We all support America. And instead of people fighting one another, we should just be trying to get dialogue. So let me just ask you one question. If there was something that I could do, because I notice right now there's some kind of animosity and I don't even know the whole story. And to be honest with you, I don't want to know the whole story, to be honest with you. But is there something that I could do to bridge that gap, to stop this? Because we need to come together more than ever. I mean, we need to be strong because we're stronger together, and we all support this country. I mean, I don't have beef with you. I don't have beef with other people. So I like to try to be like the mediator to bring us together and make us strong. So what can we do to like just squash it? Because we have to come together. These liberals don't do this.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't have an ongoing beef with that guy. As far as I'm concerned, what happened after the rally, it's settled since then. So I don't have a personal ongoing beef with that guy. I'm ready to move past it. In regards to the divisions that we have across the board within the right, I don't know what you can do specifically, but what we can do as a group is we can stop the Nazi witch hunts. Stop hunting for Nazis and white nationalists and racists hiding under every rock. It's so tiresome to deal with this. You don't know, man. My inbox, I run several different groups, and my inbox fills up with messages from snowflakes going, I think so-and-so's an anti-Semite. I think so-and-so's a Nazi. I think this guy might be a white nationalist. And I'm like, just stop. Just let it go. What I want to do is I want to crush communism. I want to destroy communism. I want to stamp it into the dark reaches of our society where it belongs. That's what my focus is. My focus isn't on routing out
Looks like your connections are breaking
white
up.
national.
Yeah, you know what? I want to talk about the nationalist, because if you look up the definition of what a nationalist is, it's a person who loves his country and supports his country and wants his country first, the nation first. So if you really think about it, I'm a nationalist as well, because my whole thing is unite America first. And the reason why I say that, because we have to take care of America before we decide to start taking care of these other countries. I'm all for helping these other countries, but we're having major issues just going on here that we need to fix before we move on. We have veterans that are getting secondhand on everything. The veterans, we have veterans we still have military personnel that just came back from war that are missing limbs. I was watching Gina Nelm's video today, and she came up with a valid point. We have military personnel that are missing limbs, and they're having a hard time getting prosthetic limbs, but yet we're going to bring in people and give them these sex changes free of charge. And you know what, that is absolutely true. I mean, and it pisses me off to no end when you think about it like that. They're literally pissing on these men and women that have risked their lives, and then we're gonna give these other people free board and just have a sex change just because they feel a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, and that's what I'm all about, man. I'm all about American nationalism, America, and Americans first. All our policies need to be weighed as to how that policy affects the American people, not what good we can do for another nation or how altruistic we are, or how we can save some group of people in a far off land that doesn't share our culture and really doesn't care anything about us as a people. Like that's got to be, and that's what I like about our President Trump. He's putting us first. He's one of them. Since Theodore Roosevelt, he is the most unabashedly, nationalistic presidents. I mean, we've had in decades, certainly within my lifetime. And that's the direction where we need to go with the right in this country. We need to get away from the neoconservatism of George Bush, John McCain, Mitt Romney, all these other losers that have sold us up the river for so many years, and move more towards a stance of hardline American nationalism. Virtually everywhere I go, the majority of the crowds that I speak to are nationalists. The vast majority. Now, I used to have a lot more libertarians. Right. Now the libertarians are all moving towards nationalism as well.
So I notice I know we're talking about the white nationalists, and adding the word white to white nationalists, actually that came out of the liberal left. To my understanding, that came out of the liberal left, and they did that because they wanted to make it like it's a bad thing to be a nationalist, and that's what I don't like. And I did a video a while back, and I think you actually commented on it, where I was talking about how there's an actual attack on white people in America, and this attack is strictly coming from the liberal left. You put on CNN, you're guaranteed to talk about how some white person did something. And every time there's an incident that takes place in America, they wish it was, they're hoping that it was someone white that did it, so they can talk about it.
So they can vilify them.
Yeah, so they can vilify it, because only then it becomes a problem. So like the guy that was in Minneapolis that shot the female, the police officer, had he been a white cop and had she been anything else other than white, the media would still be talking about it today, right now.
Be buzzing away, sure.
Still be talking about it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's, I think that's one of the ways we can heal the divide, between the fringes of the far fringes of the right, where you do have, white nationalists and people that have, more hardline racial beliefs. And then people where I'm at that are American nationalists that are looking to unite all people, regardless of race or color. Somewhere in between those two groups, those two sides, you have the new right, and the alt-right. So right in the middle would basically be the new right, but then we openly talk about the war on whites. We talk about it and we address it. What's happening is you have this Generation Z coming up. And a lot of these kids these young white kids have been shit on their whole life, and told they are bad and evil because of the color of their skin. Right. And it's turning them into legitimate racists, because over and over again, in school, academia, in the media, they're always being told that they're bad, they're racist by virtue of their birth. And their people have been responsible for all the ills of society all over the world. So if we start to acknowledge that and we talk about it collectively as a group, then those kids won't feel so left behind, and they won't feel the need to go all the way over to the alt-right, and then they'll start to come into our camp. But as long as we act like snowflakes and we refuse to talk about the war on whites because everybody's afraid of being called a racist, we're going to lose those kids. We're going to lose those kids to the far right, the alt right, and if we're not going to get them back.
Yeah, that's true. You know what I've noticed is when I talk to a lot of people about the attacks on white people, and what's really crazy is that you have a lot of black people and even Hispanics to try to justify it as if they can be okay with them being racist towards white people. But when I talk to a lot of white people about the attacks on them, a lot of white people, they avoid having a conversation with me. I mean, seriously, they avoid having a conversation with me because they don't want to, and I understand why. Because no one wants to be labeled a victim. Well, some people do. But a lot of people that I talk to, they don't want to be labeled victims because I don't want to be labeled a victim myself. So I understand that. But a lot of them avoid it because they don't want to be labeled a victim, and they don't want anyone to think of them as racist because they're not. I think the part of the problem is that because when you don't talk about it, I mean, you should be open and talking about it, and don't look like it's something you want to avoid because it's actually happening. And if I'm black and I see it and I'm speaking out against it, and the reason why I speak out against it, because I do not want a racial war. That's what the liberal left wants. And anybody that follows right into it and falls into that trap don't even realize that they're being manipulated. And I don't. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why I speak out about it. But you have a lot of people that Latinos, black people, Hispanic people. They say that they've been oppressed, so they can be as hateful and racist as they want to be, and it's okay. And even the media spins it, and that's the only reason why I'm talking about it. Now to say there are some white people that are racist. That's just the way the world is. There's white people, black people, Latinos, Asian that are racist. I mean, there's racist people all over across the spectrum. But
now they even have arguments that blacks or Latinos can't be racist.
Well,
because they lack power.
Exactly.
Have you heard that one? Have you heard that one?
Oh yeah, I have heard that one. I've heard that they lack power. Yeah. They lack power.
So that's what they're teaching in colleges now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So when they do that, this is cultural Marxism. So when they do that, they're basically giving them a pass on being racist as hell. They can just basically do whatever, and they can't be considered racist because of their skin color. Only whites can be racist.
It's just like BLM in LA right now. They have an all-black student union. Can you imagine if a different school had an all-white student union? It would not let me, and it would not allow black people to come in. The media would go ballistic. But why is it okay here? See, for here, it ticks me off because they're talking about Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives only matter when someone white is involved. I need the other ones.
Yeah, they ignore the carnage that happens in Chicago on a daily basis, which is almost all black on black crime. They ignore, what's happened in black communities with what is the birth rate or the unwed mothers. It's close to 80% now of children are born to unwed mothers in the black community. They're ignoring all these things that are leading and the leading cause of violence amongst the black community. But then they focus on, a cop shooting a guy because the cop had to defend himself because the dude tried to grab his gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the guy pointed a vape pin at the cop, in hoping the cop would shoot him, and the vape pin looked like a gun, so the guy gets smoked. Oh, that cop, because he's white, must be a racist. He must have shot that dude because he was a racist. See, they make that assumption immediately. And I tell you what, the people that are to blame the most for this are whites. Whites have not stood up against the systematic oppression, against us to become second-class citizens in all of the nations they conquered, and even in their homeland in Europe. Whites are second-class citizens. There is an entire lexicon of speech that is off limits to me simply because of the color of my skin.
Yeah.
There's so many things I can't say, or I will be considered a racist,
or if I'm in circles, I might get attacked, whatever. And we've allowed that to happen. We've allowed political correctness. It has burrowed its way into our society. It's like a tick, affected everything. If we don't push back against it, if we don't, throw caution to the wind when it comes to optics, and when it comes to being worried about being called a racist or whatever, and just to speak truth to power and push forward with this and start talking about these issues, we are going to continue to be second-class citizens. We are going to continue to have a war waged against us, and we're going to lose that war. We'll be put into very compromising positions as a group of people in the not so distant future.
Well, that's what it is part of that is taking rights away from people, freedom of speech away from people. That's a lot of it. And this happening to everybody across the board. For them, if they can remove, the majority of the people in this country are white. So if they can suppress white people from saying what it is they want to say, they'll do it to everybody else.
Sure. And you know full well, Will, that there is a war against Western civilization. They want to destroy the foundations of our civilization.
Exactly.
Western civilization was created by whites and people of European descent. It is founded upon beliefs and principles dating back to ancient Greece. And so if they destroy the progenitors, the creators of Western civilization, then they are that much closer to accomplishing their long-term goal of destroying Western civilization.
Yeah. So, hey, I'm going to open up the phone lines. And
sure.
If we get someone that calls in that's straight off the bat being belligerent or hateful and just saying some stuff, I'm just gonna let them go, okay? Because I've had a couple people, one guy in particular that's just called in and he's being completely so. We'll see. We'll see. Okay,
no
I'm just letting you know.
Worries. Yeah, it's all good.
All right. Let's see. Hello. Turn your computer down in the background. You there?
Hey, Stickman. I just want to know, when you're saying that the white people are being oppressed, and you're saying that America is built on Western civilization, what you're saying is the white people are associated with Western civilization, then which one is it? Is it that the white people are being oppressed?
Okay, first of all, let me jump in real quick. Since we've been on here, I didn't hear Stickman say that white people are being oppressed. He said what I believe, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, what I believe is what's going to happen is white people will become oppressed.
Okay.
I would actually agree. I would agree.
The majority
Go ahead, Carl.
Okay, the majority of the people, the congressmen, are white. The majority of people, senators, are white. Most people that are billionaires, millionaires are white. So how could you say that you guys are the ones that are being the victims now? That's crazy.
Just because you have a group of whites that have been very successful, you have this was a vastly a majority white country up until the 1960s. So of course you're going to have a large number of congressmen that are white. I can assure you the majority of those congressmen are not looking out for. They don't have any kind of loyalty to anyone based on race. The majority of these guys are in it for money and power, number one. And not all whites are wealthy. I didn't grow up wealthy. I have friends that didn't grow up wealthy. And I have personally been a victim of probably a dozen hate crimes. And it's pretty clear when you turn on television and you hear what they're saying, just like Will was saying on MSNBC, CNN, they are constantly vilifying white people. And they rarely, if ever, call out people of color for being racist. And if you go into academia is just one big, let's hate the white man shit show. You go into college, on college campuses, they're teaching white privilege. There is no white privilege, man. I can assure you that. They're teaching, they constantly teach that slavery came from whites, which is nonsense. Whites didn't create slavery. Blacks were enslaving each other. The Arabs were actually the main progenitors of the slave trade.
And they're still doing that today.
And they're still doing it today. So yeah, as far as I can see, there's every single indicator out there that whites are being oppressed, and that just because you have some wealthy whites that are in control does not mean the whites that don't have money or the middle class whites aren't being oppressed.
And these are those middle class white people are the ones that are voting for these people. These are the people, the white people voted for these congressmen, senators. Talking about the South. They're talking about even Donald Trump. That was the white middle class that voted for Donald Trump. So we'll see in 4 years and 8 years.
I'm gonna have to tell you, it's not just the white middle class that voted for Donald Trump too.
Yeah,
because
30% of Hispanics.
Yeah, he could not win.
Voted for Donald Trump
because he could not win alone on the white vote. Not anymore.
Getting 30% of the Hispanic vote was low. I think that was pretty
30%,
good.
30%. What about 70? Compared 70% to 30%, that's low. It's not like a big difference. No, and also about the white genocide. Hispanics, if there was really a white genocide in South Africa, Fox News will be all over that. That is
Fox
ridiculous.
News doesn't give two shits about white people. Come on, man. Nobody's buying that. You think Fox News cares about white people? Bro,
all they talk about is white issues. They don't talk about Mexican issues. They don't talk about black issues. They talk about white issues. They don't talk about
what's a white issue? Tell me what a white issue is.
I like to know what a white issue is too.
They're talking about Donald Trump all the time. They're talking about
talking about the president.
But what's okay? But caller, what is a white issue?
They're always bashing Black Lives Matter. They're always bashing Black Lives Matter. They're always about anything that so-called.
What is a white issue?
What the issues that he's bringing up? The things that white privilege doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
Okay, but no, wait a minute. Hold on. I just want to know that one. I want to know that one statement. What is a white issue?
Like everything you talk about, it's like
he can't even point it out.
Listen, me as a Mexican person doesn't relate nothing Fox News talk about. So everything they talk about is about like something that white people care about.
You know why? Because you define 90% defining yourself by your nationality, Ben. You are so concerned.
90% of the people that watch Fox News are mostly old white people. They don't. It's like I can relate to it. Even like an average black person doesn't listen to Fox News.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm an average black person and I can relate to Fox News. Not all of it.
I know you can.
Hold on.
I know you can.
Because there's some shows on Fox that I do not like. There's some on Fox that I do not like, and one of them happens to be Shepard Smith. I don't really care for Shepard Smith. So, but anyway,
and that's one of the ones. That is actually like one of the same ones.
Well, you're a leftist, bro. So it's not race. It comes down to culture and values and beliefs. It doesn't have anything to do with race. Oh. But people like you are really hung up on race all the time.
Yeah, true.
You're the one who brings up the white genocide. You're the one who brings up the white genocide.
Will brought it up, and we started talking about it.
Yes, because I noticed what's happening.
Speak about that.
Because I've seen what's happening. Because I watch MSNBC, I watch CNN, and I saw them even right after the election when Donald J. Trump won. You have what's his name, Van Jones, going there talking about this is a complete white lash, as if only white people voted for Donald J. Trump and made him president, which is a complete lie. That's where I address it. Because people like the liberal left is trying to create this racial war in America, and I'm fighting against it. And then you have people like you that don't want to hear nothing else, and you fall right into it. You need to wake up and stop following that trap.
It's not true.
So let me ask you one more time. Let me ask you one more time, because you say you watch Fox News. What white issues do they talk about on Fox News?
They talk about like they're bashing Black Lives Matter. They're bashing
Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization, man. Black Lives Matter.
That's your opinion. How are they a terrorist organization? Because they're standing up for black rights
of cops.
That's a terrorist organization.
Yes,
They're calling for the
I'll
death
say
of
it.
cops.
Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. When they go out in the streets talking about what do we want, dead cops, when do we want them now? That is a terrorist. That is a domestic terrorist group. And you can't say it's not happening.
Black Matter don't say
call
that.
back
Black
in. I'm gonna take
Matter
another
don't
call.
say that. Just because one person says that doesn't mean it's true.
It wasn't. It wasn't. It was a lie. I'm gonna take
group.
another call. Thank you for calling in. Hello, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Thaddeus, man. How you doing?
What's going on, sir?
Enjoying your show, brother.
Yeah, that's the same character. He always call in. He don't want to listen to nothing else. He doesn't even take the time to look up information himself and try to figure out why. Why is it that I'm saying what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's because I'm trying to make somebody happy. I'm saying it because I see the issues that's going on in America, and someone needs to speak out against it.
Exactly, man. But you know, I agree and disagree with Kyle and Mr. Chapman.
Go ahead.
I think. Well, here's the thing, man. When he discussed that the issues in the black community is unwed mothers and single childbirth and things like that, you know, people are discussing things that they're reading. Now, I am a victim of the projects. I grew up in the projects. And the bottom line is this. It's not about being a single mother or the birth rate or anything like that. What causes people to commit crime is poverty and despair. It has nothing to do with black or white. It just doesn't. You know, there was white projects and they kept us segregated, and they were going through the same thing. I personally now live in a rural area in Virginia called Front Royal, and it is probably 10% white. There's no crime by black people there, and it's not because white people are bad. It's just that there's more of them, and they're poor, and they're desperate.
So you don't think that that this is also a cultural issue within the black community, that blacks and in general the media and entertainment industry have placed basically criminals up as role models for black people, like Rick Ross, these guys that are always rapping, talking about slinging dope, shooting people up, pimping hoes, dropping Molly in girls' drink, raping women, stuff like that. And you have a large amount of young black men that admire these guys, admire the lifestyle that they're living. You don't think that in any way it influences the crime rate in these communities?
Well, most definitely, but you can also take a look back at a lot of rock songs. I listen to all types of music, but you can look at a lot of rock songs.
Not even
talking
close,
about
man.
dropping acid.
Not
and,
even.
You know what I'm saying?
So no, you cannot. Man.
Here's
Don't even try it. Tell me one rap song. Tell me one rock song that talks about dropping Molly in a woman's drink and then raping her. Come on, man. Tell me one rock song. Tell me one rock song that talks about chopping up bricks and dope.
I'm going to tell you. Let me speak. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to answer your question. I'll go straight to mid-2000s with Nickelback. I like your pants around your knees. I like the cut. You know what I'm saying, dude? I was a DJ for many years.
He's talking about having sex with a woman, bro. He's not talking about dropping Molly.
But you're talking about, hold on. But you're talking about sex and abuse. I don't listen to rap personally. So I'm not going there. But I'm not influenced by that. But I understand.
Maybe you're not, but there's a lot of young black youth that are. There's a lot of youth, period.
And there's a lot of whites.
Regardless.
Hold on.
Let me jump in for a second. So let me say this.
But there's a lot of whites running around with the pants hanging down as well, doing the same thing.
Hold on, fellas. Let me jump in. So the rap music today is actually influencing both black and white people.
All the way across the board.
Right.
Yeah, because what that is saying is that even you see, just like you see these black males walking around with their pants hanging down, I see white males, especially here in California, walking around with their pants hanging down. So it's not a black or white thing. And actually, the pants hanging down came from the prison system telling their inmates that, hey, this booty's available. So these guys walking around with their pants hanging down is telling everybody their booty's available, and they don't even realize it. So maybe that's what they are saying. I don't know. But
my point is
Well,
that it's influencing everybody, but that influence has a larger footprint within the black community because there's a much larger number of people within the black community that listen to that music religiously.
I have to disagree there.
But check this out, man.
I have to disagree there, Kyle, because majority of the people that buy the rap music are white males.
Bro,
I mean,
we're talking
correct.
that's a total percentage of buyers. We're talking about percentage of the community. I'm not talking about an overall number of people.
Okay. Well, there you're
Two
right.
different things.
Right. Go ahead, Thaddeus.
But let me say this, man. I am nowhere close to being racist or I do not believe in segregation. And I understand, and I've heard where they said black men cannot be racist, which is absolutely incorrect in my eyes. I mean, I was a leader in the United States Air Force, and at any time, I could have made a white guy do something I didn't want a brother to do. I wasn't that type of guy. The thing is this, is that you seem like a cool guy, but you're falling for the system.
I'm falling for the system.
You're so... Hold on, let me finish. Don't take offense. What I'm saying is, you just told that Hispanic guy that was on the phone that he was worried about culture. But aren't you worried about culture? The only thing that I'm worried about is this country, America. Now, we all understand this. The last people to come to a society are going to be at the bottom until they work their way up. It's just the way it is. And unfortunately, the black man was the last one introduced to this continent.
That's not true.
You see what I'm saying? So I see slowly but surely black men progressing.
Your statement is incorrect. There are plenty of people that have come here after blacks, such as Asians, that are at the very top of the food chain. The number one breadwinner, highest wage earner in America is the Asian male, and they have some of the highest grades in school, and a lot of these people are first generation Asians. So I mean, that statement you just made is incorrect. And I'm gonna tell you why it's not correct. Let me tell you the difference between black immigrants and any other immigrant in this country. First of all, most Asians. You got to speak. Hang on, man. You got to speak, and I listen to you. Now let me address the questions you just put forth to me. So number one, that part of your statement was incorrect, and number two, now you say you're concerned about your country. Well, when there was segregation back in the 1950s, 1960s, and all this stuff going on, there was obvious racism that was being perpetuated against blacks. And blacks stood up and addressed that racism and rectified it in many ways. There is now the same case is happening to white people. So just because that I love my country doesn't mean I'm going to turn a blind eye to the blatant racism that's being directed towards whites. I'm going to address that too. You know, I'm doing the same thing that blacks had to do in the 1950s.
I agree with you. I agree, but here's the thing: you know more European than I am African. You're American now,
bro.
And until we realize that, you're 100% what?
I'm a white American that is of European ethnic descent.
Okay, but you're still a mutt, just like me.
I'm not gonna forget that I'm European or something, and just because I'm an American, like I said, it doesn't mean what am I supposed to ignore the blatant and obvious racism that's being perpetrated against whites? Or are you saying that makes me somehow racist?
I'm not going to ignore it either, though, is what I'm saying. I'm not going to ignore it either, but I'm not going to blame it on the black man. I'm not going to blame it on the white man.
No.
I'm not going to ignore either of that.
I didn't blame it on the black man. Honestly, I did not blame it on blacks, number one. And number two, the majority of these people that are waging this culture war against whites are white. Whites are the main person to blame.
Correct.
They're the ones that have allowed them to become second-class citizens, and they're the cultural Marxists that have been indoctrinating Americans with this hateful anti-white ideology. It's white people that we need to push back against.
And you see
Right,
that,
but here's
you
the
see
thing.
that on the CNN and MSNBC constantly. And that's why I brought it up, because that's where I seen them. They constantly do it on these liberal left media outlets, even ABC, CBS. They're all talking about how white people voted Donald J. Trump in. And Kyle, I think Thaddeus is agreeing with you, and I think you're agreeing with him. It's just you have different views or different ways on describing what you're trying to say.
And definitely, man.
Yeah.
Definitely. I am a Trump supporter. I voted for Trump. But when I see somebody that of European ethnicity tell me and compare my ancestors to Asians who came to this country, who were given education and given money to start a business, and my ancestors were brought here as slaves unwillingly, I think that's ridiculous.
Well, man, you can only play that.
You can't compare apples to oranges.
Man, you could only play the victim role for so long, man. Whites were enslaved too.
Oh, I'm not a victim, man. I guarantee I'll make more money than you did.
Okay, then let's stop talking about slavery. At some point, the blacks are going to have to address the issues directly.
I'm not saying that. You said that the black man had as much opportunity as Asians. You're incorrect.
No, what I said was, you said the people that come to a society last are typically the last people to climb the food chain and succeed. I said you were
Which is
wrong.
correct, typically, in any continent, unless they're assisted, which Asians were assisted.
Okay, I can give you many examples of how that is not correct. I can show you Malaysia, where the indigenous Malaysian peoples have actually had to pass ethnic laws to favor Malaysians because they are being outperformed left and right by Indians and Chinese. Okay, and I can point to other areas. You go to Thailand, the Chinese have a higher rate of success than the native Thais. Well, they're immigrants. They came there way after the Thais. The Thais been there thousands of years. So I don't agree with that statement, man. I don't think there's a whole lot of
I'm talking
information
about
out there to back
America.
that up.
I'm talking about the United States of America. And we all know that every immigrant that's ever been brought here was given something.
I don't know, man. My people didn't come here and get nothing.
Well,
I do know. I'm retired military. I just see it.
So let me say this. I know when.
What do Asians get given?
Let me say this.
What do Asians get given?
Let me say
That's
this
what I
real
want to
quick,
know.
because right now, as far as when under Obama administration, immigrants, they were trying to bring these immigrants from, I think it was I forget exactly where. They're basically Muslim, okay? They're trying to bring these immigrants here to America. They were going to give them housing, medical, and $64,000 for each person just coming through the door into America.
Those are refugees.
Well,
That's
they've
done it. Look, I'm 50 years old, man. They've done it for years. With China.
To refugees.
With Indians.
How much money do Chinese get when they immigrate here?
Let me say this. They're actually doing this with the illegal immigrants that are coming from Mexico right now. If they come to the state of California right now, these legal immigrants, they're getting government assistance, they're getting housing, and they're getting medical assistance. And these illegal immigrants and the legal immigrants can go to the DMV as of today, and they can get a California state driver license along with a registration to vote.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of these people are coming and they're getting handed all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why they keep coming.
That blacks have been getting for a long time. It's not like, they're getting something that everybody else ain't getting.
Well, I think what that is saying, hold on. What that is saying that never in the history of America that they, bring that illegal black people come over here or black people came over here and they gave them something like, just housing and stuff like that. Now, what did take place is after the Democratic Party realized that they were losing the control over black people, then they started giving them government housing. Then they started telling them, as long as you don't have a man in the household, we'll give you government assistance. So they
Right.
had their,
They broke up the family.
they had their way on doing it that way. But I think that is the same that people come over here willingly, and then the government is just willingly giving them assistance to bring them up higher. I mean, it
I
is
don't agree
happening.
with any. Look, I don't agree with any of that shit. All right, I don't agree with any kind of welfare at all.
Then you
Yeah,
All I
shouldn't.
do
I don't
is-
agree with it
And you
either.
shouldn't.
I don't
Yeah.
agree with it either. The problem is it's taking place. That's the problem. None of us agree with it. The problem is it's taking
Well,
place.
here's the thing. I know with the Chinese, they were giving them free college when whites nor blacks, they struggle all day trying to send their kids to college and giving them free housing for 4 years.
I don't
I know
man.
this for a
I haven't
fact.
seen that. I'd like to see those documents, but I don't agree. If that was
Man,
the case, I don't agree with
you
any
can
of
look
it.
at it. It's open. It's open.
Yeah,
It's not a secret.
I'll have to look it up on the internet. But but when people keep referencing slavery as a reason for a certain group's lack of success, at some point that's just, man, people just get tired of hearing that, man. Whites have been enslaved, brutally enslaved for thousands of years. All right, the Moors enslaved whites in Spain for almost 800 years. The Ottoman Turks enslaved whites for close to 600 years. All the Slavs, Genghis Khan enslaved whites. The Berbers enslaved millions of whites. The Mongols did. The Hungarians, the Bulgars. So and you'll never sit there, and I'm Irish, and then my people were enslaved. But you're never gonna sit there and see me try to explain away my lack of success because I was, my people were enslaved at one point. You just got to move on, man.
I don't explain any of your lack of success because I've become successful and I grew up poor.
Well,
and because I never took any handouts.
You did reference slavery. You did reference
No,
slavery.
I
Earlier
said
on,
you
did.
cannot compare any. Listen to me one time. You cannot compare any immigrant in this country to black people. They were the only ones brought here unwillingly.
Yeah, and they were freed quite a long time ago. So how long are you going to use that as an excuse or whatever for
I don't
not
have
wanting
an
to be?
excuse. That's not what I'm saying.
Well, you're
I'm
saying that
saying
you
you
can't be
cannot
compared to
compare
other-
it to Chinese, Europeans, or anybody else. You can't do that. And as far as you're talking about we were freed a long time ago, let me explain something to you. I was alive when there was still segregation in the South, brother. I remember black and white water fountains. I remember German shepherds and water hoses. Now, you may be a little young for that, but I'm not.
Yeah, that was a
So
part
it
of the
wasn't we
country.
were
a
free
reason.
and everybody got along okay. It took a process, and it's come a long way. A long way, or I wouldn't be where I'm at today. You see what I'm saying? So I don't use slavery for an excuse, but to compare black men to anybody else in this country is unfair. And like
Okay,
you
well,
said,
then-
it would
then
be
what you're doing
unfair
is you're
for
making
somebody
yourself-
to use slavery as a reason why they can't get ahead.
Well,
I
then
agree.
what you're doing is you're trying to say blacks are a protected class of people and shouldn't be compared to anybody else because they come from a unique set of circumstances. And I personally think that type of thinking it holds blacks back. But we don't. We're sitting here talking on and on about the race stuff, man. I ain't trying to talk about that anymore. Let's talk about politics. Let's talk about Trump, Antifa. Let's talk about shit that really matters here.
Say Thaddeus?
Well, yes,
Hey,
but we can't move forward with all of those things if we're not united, and that's the name of the game. Being united in this country.
Sure.
And I think that CNN and MSNBC put forth an effort to deter people from that. Like you said, you got black people calling them racist. You got white people saying, "Oh God, they're killing us." You got people saying, "Oh, I can't get ahead because of slavery." They feed that to us. I choose not to eat it.
That's good.
yep. Hey Thaddeus.
You know, they're going to keep doing it to us, man.
Yeah. I think you know what I think we're all in agreement here. We're just going by it separate ways. So because we all support
Oh, definitely.
We're all pretty
Trump.
close.
Let me just say we all support Trump. We all support America. We just, the different things that's taking place in America, we have different views because, that's just the way it is. Kyle is a white male. You're a black male. I'm a black male. We grew up differently. In some sense, some of the things we grew up similar. But that's just what it is. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and let's get some more calls in.
All right, brother. I'm going to holler at you later. Y'all take care. Nice talk to you, Mr. Chapman.
Good talking to you, Thaddeus.
Thanks. Bye. All right, that's pretty awesome. Hey, the phone line is open now, 650-488-1076. So, yeah, Thaddeus is a real good guy.
Thaddeus sounds like a great guy. I just, when people keep, my thing is that if a group of people or a person really wants to be successful, they got to, the excuses got to go. You can't have any excuses.
Yeah.
And when you keep trying to reference poverty for the black crime rate, I'm not buying into that, man. Because some of the most poorest parts of this country are in like rural Virginia and parts like the Ozarks, parts of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
And they're rural white neighborhoods with no public assistance and nothing, and they don't have nearly those rates of crime. So it's not just poverty that drives those crime rates. There's other cultural factors outside of that.
Right. Okay. Caller, you there? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Me, I'm Bob Jones. I live down here on the border.
Oh, Bob. Turn your computer down in the background.
I was listening to that guy. I like what he's saying. Go ahead.
Turn your computer down in the background there.
I did.
Okay. Do you know Bob, Mr. Chapman?
I don't think so. How you doing, Bob?
Go ahead, Bob.
How you doing, Bob? What do you want to talk about today?
My question is, if y'all are on this race issue, how is it that you are a conservative, or you're not a conservative, showing up at Trump rallies, but you're a part of the Dignity of Oprah and the Fraternity Order of Knights?
I am not a part of Identity Europa. And I'm an American nationalist. So Fraternal Order of Alt Knights is an organization that Fraternal Order of Alt Knights accepts people of all races. We have Hispanics, blacks, and Asians that are part of our group.
Is that okay with you, Bob?
It clarifies a lot. I appreciate his honesty. I'm not so sure that whites are the privileged race in America, though I see a lot of black privilege.
Say that again?
There can be,
I say I'm not so sold on the fact that people want to keep talking about the black privilege that's going on in America, because I see a lot of privilege, not just with blacks, but also with others, like immigrants, like what you're talking about. I know a guy with disability calls in, tries to get housing, and he can't get it because it's full. But you see people that come across the border from other countries, and they can call in and get put on housing like really quick, within a year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's I've heard a lot this story from a lot of people, and it seems like there is some sort of a prejudice against whites with the social system, that they have a real hard time getting stuff that other ethnic groups seem to get real easy. I don't have any personal experience with it, so I can't really speak to that. But I have heard this story several times.
One last question, if I may, for Kyle Chapman.
Go ahead.
I'm just curious. I've seen a lot of websites showing he has affiliation with the Proud Boys. Is he a member of the Proud Boys?
I'm vice president of the Proud Boys.
Showing that, I was just curious.
So Bob, what do you think is bad about the Proud Boys? Because I've yet to hear.
What I think about the Proud Boys is bad is everything they stand for. If you look at any country that they go to, they're facing felony charges in every single country that they have in an organization. And if it's not Germany, if it's not Canada, then it's going to be Australia. And then we got them coming down here going to our rallies trying to get into fights with Antifa. It's okay to be against Antifa, but it's another thing whenever you're starting to sprout off racist views and points of views and then start actually attacking people and garnering felony charges on a regular basis.
Okay,
so
hold on. Let me speak to this real quick.
Okay.
So I have never heard of any Proud Boys garnering any sort of charges outside of you had a group of Proud Boys. They didn't even get charged. You had a group of Proud Boys that showed up at a rally in Canada, and they spoke, and they basically showed up with Canadian flags, spoke to the indigenous people for a minute, and then walked off, and just basically, and then they were being kicked out of the military. But what are you referencing when you say Proud Boys are being charged with felonies, dude? I've been a Proud Boy for a little while now. I've never heard of this.
And Proud Boys are not a racial.
So let me ask you a
Proud
question.
Boys are not a racial organization.
So let me ask you this.
They accept people of all colors.
So let me ask this: when the Proud Boys, do they show up in all white shirts? Is that correct?
Or the Proud Boys, they show up in white shirts. No, I never said the Proud Boys were racist. I said that the identity of Oprah was racist, and the guy that runs that organization did go to some of the rallies in Berkeley, and was affiliated with.
So are you saying because are you saying because he went to the rally in Berkeley makes him a racist? Is that what you're saying? Because I went to the 3 Berkeley rallies as well. So I mean, I'm not sure how going to the Berkeley rally makes you a racist, because I was there and I wasn't on the Antifa side.
I'm not saying that, Will. You're confusing and intertwining everything that I'm saying. What I'm saying is Identity of Oprah is a racist organization. I don't think there's any doubt about that. When you go to the website, the very patch that they used was formed from the Nazi patch. That's on their website. You can't deny that.
I'm not familiar with that.
I'd say I know. Identity Europa is an identitarian group, and they do have a race-based belief system and philosophy. There's no doubt about that. But you said I was a member of Identity Europa. Where did you get that information?
I got that information off their website.
So on their website they say Kyle Chapman is a member of Identity Europa. Come on,
well,
man.
And also sometimes you can run across articles where people are identifying people and questioning people with certain organizations. I'm not saying they always get it right, but most of the time they do.
Yeah.
I don't know about most of the time they do, man. I think these people get shit wrong all the time. And I think before you come on a show like this and to try to accuse somebody of being a racist or member of organization, you need to check your facts.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, I appreciate you calling in.
All right. Y'all take care.
Hey, tell my buddy I said hi.
Which one?
Yeah, Bob, I've never had any confrontation with Bob or whatever, but he's been involved with another gentleman, and this other gentleman has convinced him to believe certain things about me, which is not true, and I don't even entertain it. Hello, what's your name? Where you're calling from?
Hey, well, this is Carlos Martinez again.
Hey, Carlos.
But it's Fernando, man, and hopefully now we won't be calling. I just wanted to say a couple of things. Hey, Kyle, brother, I just wanted to say a lot of people, unfortunately, I don't know if they're reading, all these issues with Antifa or whether they're reading the information. I'm a member of Proud Boys. I'm a proud member of Proud Boys. I'm also a new member in the Fraternal Order of All Knights. So I met everybody on my area. I haven't met anybody that's racist, even close to being racist. The problem is they're trying to, the liberal media is trying to paint this picture of us as racist in order to demonize us. And I guess they're hoping that, people are going to shine away from us because of it. I don't know what, but it's always the same rhetoric. When you don't agree with them, you're a racist. But I support Kyle, but it says, I don't know. I think what I'm trying to say is a lot of people go to these rallies. Sometimes, a lot of people come over and they come say hi to Kyle. And if this individual happens to be somebody from the racist organization, somebody affiliates with another organization that we have no attachment or control over, the media comes, takes a picture and says, look, there is Kyle colluding with the racist, white supremacists.
Yeah,
and
so
they run with it.
Yeah, you know what? So I can hear this next. Look at Will. He's now a white supremacist because he had Kyle Chapman on his show.
Man, listen. People in my own group, I went on, Baked Alaska's a friend of mine. Baked Alaska's, I guess you'd call him an identitarian. He certainly isn't a racist, but he is an identitarian, and he's a friend of mine. I went and did an interview with him, was on his show, whatever, and because I did that, all of a sudden everybody started freaking out. My own people started freaking out, thinking that I could potentially be a racist. So I mean, everybody seems to fall for this okie doke. No, but it's like, how many times are you going to fall for this okie doke? How many times are you going to make the mistake of playing the race card on one of your own people, punching right, Nazi hunting, and trying to label your own group as racist? How long is it going to take for right-wingers and people on the right to understand that they're always going to play this race card against us? They've been doing it forever.
They do that, as you say, it's all propaganda.
For God's sake. Come on, man.
Yeah,
it's all propaganda, and they're always going to be doing that. We're always going to be doing it. I'm obviously Hispanic, you can say, tell my accent.
Yeah, for now.
I'd be called a white supremacist and the freaking Nazi. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you're white. You're a white Hispanic, right? So listen, man. They are scared to death of our movement. What's happening right now with the Proud Boys, with the alt-right, with these other groups that are hitting the streets and pushing back against the left. And the left has almost always owned the streets. Okay, they have owned the streets in rallies and protests. This is something the right typically didn't do. The first Battle of Berkeley changed everything. And now we have groups like Proud Boys and the Alt-Knights and others that are showing up to protect people out these rallies, thereby emboldening our right-wing brethren to come out and show their support for their president, and not only that, to push back against the communist groups that are trying to rally for socialism and communism within our country. And it scares them because it destroys their narrative and it destroys their optics, right? They're not able to create these optic videos where it's just nothing but people, disavowing and hating on Trump and wanting a regime change and wanting an impeachment. Now, when they go to cover these marches, they got, maybe a 500 libs show up and cry for impeachment, but now there's 200 counter protesters showing up saying, no, Trump's our president. And this whole thing is a farce. So it destroys their narratives. It destroys their optics. It's a powerful tool. And I'm telling you right now,
you broke up right then. Yeah, you broke up right there, Kyle. So
and we see it on like his allegations saying that Proud Boys were being arrested and all of a sudden it's like not here in America. I don't know about anybody else, but not here in America.
I never heard that either. He was trying to make it like the Proud Boys is no different than Antifa, because Antifa is everywhere.
Well, yeah, and I think it's one of the things that keeps hearing the rhetoric from the left, and it kind of sticks in their heads and they end up believing it. But it's like every time we have a meeting, and as a matter of fact, last meeting, we had a couple of people come up to us and they were starting asking a question. And these young ladies were straight out, leftists. And when they left out of there, they were, I can honestly say, they were red pilled because they at least took the time to come to us and ask us questions, and they saw the range of people in our group. So this is one of the things, whenever you hear these conflicting stories, people need to slow down and, hey, you know what? Do your research before, like Kyle was saying, before you make accusations of racism and, So, but anyways, I just wanted to drop that in because, that kind of pissed me off that we're saying, a bunch of racists. What the heck are you talking about? We're there.
Well, a lot of times
because we love our country, and we also because we're trying to make sure that our people that are showing up are protected. Because sometimes the police, we love our police, we support them, but sometimes their hands are tied, and we have to protect our guys and our women that show up to these rallies.
Exactly, and a lot of times they call people racist because they don't have nothing else. They have nothing else they can come to the table with. So then it's just like the name calling.
Yep.
Oh, you're racist because they have nothing else.
Oh, that's a default argument.
It's so bad that.
All right, brothers. Well, why don't you guys go? Kyle, brother, Uhuru, and I'll see you guys on the 27th, 26th.
All right,
yes,
see
sir,
you there.
Yeah, and so a lot of things they don't like with the Proud Boys. They go, oh well, sure, they let minorities in, but if you look at their meetings, it's majority white males. So they're really racist because it's not an even 20-20 split of all the multicultural, representation of all the races. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, it is.
How long are they going to run with this farce?
Yep. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Will. This is Barron. I'm calling from the Central Valley, California.
What's going on, Barron? You got a question for Mr. Chapman?
Yeah. Hey, Kyle. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Barron. How about yourself?
I'm hanging in there. Hey, I just want to let you guys. I just want to say one thing. Go ahead, Will.
No, go ahead. Say your question.
I just want to say a couple things. First off, you know what? We won.
Man,
how good does that feel? We won, right? We won.
Yeah. Yes.
It was an interesting journey. This journey started for me back on June 16th, 2015. Now, I grew up in the Bay Area. I was a Ben Carson guy. When Trump came down the escalator, that's when it all started. I started emailing New York, calling New York. I wanted to get involved. And Kyle, the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's an interesting thing what happened or how it started and then what it turned into. So back then, June 16th, 2015, he came down the escalator. By March of the following year, there was Facebook started blowing up with Trump supporters. And what happened in the Bay Area was a couple people hooked up. I hooked up with a couple people. We started these meetups. This is how bad and toxic the environment was for people who supported America, who supported Donald Trump. And this is the effect that the media and Hollywood, the global elites, had on the people. We had to start meetups. Secret meetups for people to come and join and meet up. It was kind of like an AA meeting.
Yeah.
And it really was. It was, and these were people. We went on to meetup.com.
Trumpers
My friend Diana started it.
Yeah.
It was Trump Anonymous, bro. It was Trump Anonymous. But it was interesting because it started to grow. The first meeting was 10 people. It was in Dublin, California, right? The second meeting was like 30 people, and it kept growing. We were doing these like once a week, once every 2 weeks, and it just continued to grow and grow and grow. And I'm going to tell you, it was people of all ethnic backgrounds, all colors, everything. You would have fallen out of your chair to see the diversity of Americans that were attending these groups. But the sad part about it was that we had to meet in basically secret to talk about our support for Donald Trump and how this plays into with what you did, Kyle, which was, it was a really great thing because I remember being in Burlingame with Trump, and there was maybe 200 protesters out front. The media made it look like there was like 2,000 protesters. They were a little bit off the hook. They were attacking people, but we weren't fighting back. Case in point, San Jose, California. I mean, I was in that rally. I didn't get out till later because I was a volunteer for the rally, so I was there about a half hour after everybody left. My father was with me. I had a lot of other volunteers with me. We didn't get to see what happened until we got home, and to see how people. I remember my buddy Eric was telling me, he was one of the people who got attacked. He said he felt like he was in a third world country in our own country.
Yeah, San Jose was bad.
How this played, huh? Go ahead.
San Jose was bad.
Yeah, San Jose was real bad.
Yeah, San Jose was. I mean, they were ripping shirts off of people, attacking old veterans.
Yeah. Yeah,
and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so part of that is, part of what you're describing is what made me fly into action at the first Battle of Berkeley. I do not understand people that allow themselves to be assaulted without fighting back. I don't understand. I think that's the most cowardly shit ever. And I'm sitting there looking at my conservative brothers and watching them get punched in the face, spit on, smashed with rocks, and hardly anybody was fighting back.
Oh, you saw how they did the female at the door.
With the eggs?
The female at the door,
Rachel
the
Casey.
eggs, and they were throwing eggs at her. They were throwing other stuff at her. And she just sitting there, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, she started bleeding. I mean, dude, when I see that video today, it pisses me off to no end, because there's grown men on the other side of the door just watching it happen. And these grown men are right there, not even, and it's innocent female, and they're not doing anything to protect her.
I spoke to that woman personally. I've spoken with her at length in several conversations, and those people sitting there watching that should have been ashamed. I'd have thrown that security guard right the fuck out the way, opened that door and yanked her in, and then closed it right behind her. And for you conservative men out there, it is your duty and it's your obligation to fight back against these assholes. You don't, you're a fucking coward. You need to fight back.
That's right.
You cannot let these people assault us and assault our women without them paying the price, man. You got to fight back, guys. That's the only way we're going to win this war.
Yeah, that's right. And, a big part of this, and we got to kind of get focused back on this war that we're fighting. It's a spiritual war. It is definitely a spiritual war that we're fighting right now. And we're fighting against Hollywood elites and the media. And it's an interesting thing what they're doing, because they are placing beliefs on people's windows that they see reality. These are false beliefs. I mean, I still hear people talking about Donald Trump getting they're going to impeach him. And I'm going, haven't you guys been, where do you guys get your information?
Yeah.
But they're pumping this hatred towards, I don't get it. They're pumping hatred towards America, towards people who support Donald Trump. And it's something that we got to focus on. We've got to focus on the media.
Well, listen, we can't do much to change and they're going to keep pushing the same bullshit narrative. But what we can do is we can change the optics, all right? We control the shit out of the media. We can have massive pro-Trump, pro-nationalist, pro-Western culture, civilization rallies.
Yeah, you're breaking up again, Kyle. I think you're
How about
absolutely
now?
right. I think you're absolutely right. We need to have more people that love this country and need to step up. And if I'm a nationalist, because I respect America and I love America and I want to keep America safe. And all the people that respect this country, I want to protect them as well. I want to do my part. And me doing this, I try to do this every day, or every time I come on there, that's what I talk about. I constantly drill it in. Unite America first. That's what it's all about. And people, they can't call me, they like to try to call me a neo-Nazi, call me a white supremacist, call me whatever it is. And I really don't care, because I want to unite America first. And that's what it's about. And we as Americans need to come together and fight these people. Now, I'm always speaking against the violence. I don't want to do the violence, because personally, when Martin Luther King was here, for an example, he marched and he made great changes that affect me today without being violent. But the problem with it is, and you hit the head on the nail earlier, Kyle, A lot of white people sit idly by while these people do these crazy things. And people are getting fed up. And I'm only one voice. And people are getting so fed up and getting so frustrated. It's so thick in the air you can cut it. People no longer want to sit down on the sideline while this craziness is going on. So people are acting out. I don't want to harm anybody. I don't want anyone to get harmed. So, I'm always trying to find a solution or trying to find a way to where we can do that without it. But when you have people like Antifa showing up, throwing bottles with M80s in it, trying to shatter in people's eyes, throwing rocks, trying to harm people, it's really hard to sit by. Be honest with you, if someone's trying to harm me like that, I'm not going to sit there and allow them to do it. I can't do it. My human instinct is going to tell me to get up and defend myself. So I understand how you have to defend yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah, I am by no means encouraging any sort of violence outside of self-defense. And that's what I'm talking about. At these rallies, a lot of people are just getting punched in the face, and they just kind of hold their face and then run off. You can't do that. When you it's like the bully in the schoolyard. And you let him pick on you. You let him pick on you. You do nothing, and he gets more emboldened, and he picks on you even more because he knows you're not going to fight back. Then one day you punch him right in the mouth, bust his nose open, teach him a little lesson, and then the bully backs off of you. So that's what the Battle of Berkeley was.
Yeah.
The bully finally got punched in the mouth.
Yeah, I used to have.
And then the second Battle of Berkeley, the bully got beat up. The bully got his ass kicked on his own turf, and now they're standing down now. They're standing down. They got to be much more careful about how they.
Yeah, because people aren't backing down to. Yeah, people are not backing down to it anymore. So Byron, did you want to make one more question?
Yeah, I was gonna end with this. I think we lost Kyle his video feed, but I'm gonna end with this, guys.
Go ahead, ask your question.
Thank you guys for standing up. Kyle, thanks for lighting the fire in the fire in the hearts of men. We've got to continue. We've got a lot of positive stuff to focus on. We've got 2018 coming up. Let's figure out a way that we can get everybody united and pushing and pulling and striving towards one goal, and that's making this state of California red again. Let's do it, guys. You guys have a good night, man.
You too. God bless.
Great, Baron. Thank you so much. Hang on a second, Will.
All right. Hey, the phone line is open. I think we'll take one more call, 650-488-1076, if you want to call in.
Let's get a little light on here.
Yeah. So we'll probably go ahead and take one more call so you can go and I know you will need to get to your family there. I don't want to keep you on too much longer, but we actually had some interesting callers tonight, so we had an interesting conversation. I knew it was going to be pretty lively, so and I do enjoy it. You know what I would like to do, and if you're up to it, I would like to bring, because I can have more than one person on here with Skype, and maybe we can get it where you're in a better location where your Skype can come in a lot stronger. But I would like to bring you on and someone possibly that might even oppose your views. I mean, completely. If you're up to it. And
I would love a debate.
Okay, yeah. So if you're up to it, so I'm gonna try to. I'll see if I can schedule it and see if someone is brave enough to come in. And I don't want us to go calling names back and forth. If we can, I like to keep it civil, just like you would if you're on any major news network. This is not a news network, but if you were on a major news network, I like for us to all keep it civil and have dialogue, and you give your points, and that person give their points, and I'll just kind of like mediate in the middle here.
Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic idea.
Okay, cool.
Just give me a heads up.
Yeah. We'll try to schedule it out so that way it won't be no conflict with you and whoever is brave enough to come on with us to do it. So, hey.
I just want to
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you're talking about the midterms, man, and I just wanted to talk to everybody a little bit about that. I don't know if people have been listening to Alex Jones lately. Alex Jones has been talking about the elite openly plotting to take out Trump. All right? And they're talking about the continuity of government.
Yep.
Instituting that. Have you been listening to this?
Yeah, I have. Absolutely.
This is scary shit, guys. This is scary shit. And I know Alex, he's been off a few times, but he's been on. a lot more than he's been off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's got some serious inside sources. So prepare ourselves in the event that something like this happens, okay, and Trump gets taken out.
Yeah.
We are going to have to hit the streets in mass. I mean,
see, you know what,
guys?
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up.
You're gonna have to be ready because
I'm glad you brought that up because you know what? I was talking about that the other day. If they actually do something to Trump, you think there was rioting in the street when Trump won the election? It's going to be something unheard of if they do something and they take him out. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, and you see it too. A lot of people see it. If they do something because they're going to just take it that it was these liberals because they're constantly Russia. They're constantly talking about impeach. They're constantly going after him over nothing because he's trying to protect us.
They're literally encouraging they're encouraging people to assassinate him.
Exactly.
They're talking about bombing the White House. I mean, they are openly calling for the death of Trump.
Alex is saying, hey, man, it looks like they're plotting something big. Yeah, and I mean, me personally, I think Trump is the real deal. I think he was the wild card that came in, and if he's allowed to do what he wants to do, not only is he going to save America, but he's going to save Western civilization. And they're scared to death of this man, especially of him getting a second term, because that's when the president's most dangerous, guys, in his second term.
Yeah. Yep. Well, hey,
that's when he's really going to drain the swamp.
Yeah, I see that too. Hey, I want to thank you for coming on with me. I want to go ahead and let you get to your family, and I really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm going to schedule out, try to get somebody who's willing to join us. Anyone watching the video, if you know somebody, have them reach out to me. Maybe we can have some dialogue, and we'll schedule out with Mr. Chapman here. Hey, I appreciate it.
Excellent. Yeah, Will Johnson, thank you so much for having me on. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Hopefully we'll see you next time with this debate that Will's going to arrange.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Once again, I appreciate the support that everybody has shown for me. It's just been an overwhelming outpouring of love. So thank you all. Thank everybody for your support. And I will continue to do my best to forward the movement, the freedom movement, the movement of American nationalism, and my journey and my quest to destroy communism within Western civilization.
Yep. Cool. Hey, thanks again. Good night.
Thank you, Will. Take care.
Good night, everybody. UnitedAmericaFirst.com. And I would have never thought of you being racist. Never in a million years. And and these people, they give the label just because I think they do it because they want to be hateful and they want to try to shut you down as much as possible. And I've said in my videos before that I'm always against the violence, but I understand how people in America are getting to the point where they're fed up with these people coming out and they're being harmful. So at some point, you have to protect yourself. And when we have like the Berkeley rallies, no one on the American side, the supporting Trump, was the aggressors. It's always the ones that showing up with these black masks on, throwing the rocks, trying to hit people, trying to harm people. And then we have people like you that's actually defending, And they're sitting there, and you hear it all throughout the videos. Hold the line. Hold the line.
Yeah. Will, I mean, I think the right is pretty used to this slander tactic by playing the race card on somebody, trying to label them as a racist. They did that to our president his entire election campaign. They still do it to him now.
Right.
They literally print out flyers and they have pictures of our Asian supporters, and they call them neo-Nazi, Jong Young, and he's a 100% Asian guy, and then they're really trying to describe this guy as a neo-Nazi, and then they're wheat pasting flyers of this poor kid all over Berkeley. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Really?
Man.
So they're putting flyers of an Asian dude all over Berkeley, calling him a neo-Nazi.
Well, he's a picture. He's a small picture in one of many pictures that are on the same flyer. And they're basically calling everybody Nazis, fascist, and racist. And there's like an Asian kid that was one of those people, and they called him a neo-Nazi. So, this is something they've been doing for a long time. I don't bite into it. The whole racism card doesn't have teeth anymore. People just aren't buying into that shit. I'm not going to sit there and disavow and continually defend myself. I think my actions have spoken for themselves. People like you that know me, that have met me, they know that I'm not with that nonsense. So it is what it is, man.
Hello. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Tonight we have Kyle Chapman, bass Stickman, with us. I hope you all tune in. It's going to be an exciting show. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about events. We're going to talk about what bass Stickman has going on. And we're going to talk about America and the state. Hey, Kyle, thank you for joining me. You there? Look like we're having technical difficulties.
Can you hear me, bud?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Testing. You got me there?
Yep, you're good. So
All
hopefully
right.
you'll stay in. So I gave a little introduction just saying, we're going to talk about America and the state of America. And we're going to talk about just different things. Do you want to go ahead for the people that, that's on my channel or on my Facebook, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and what you're doing and what you have in the works?
Sure. My name is Kyle Chapman, also known as, or some people call me the Alt Knight. I didn't pick those names. They were given to me after my actions at the Battle of Berkeley, where I was arrested and charged with 5 felonies for defending myself and my fellow right-wing brothers and sisters. Most of you have probably heard about the Battle of Berkeley by now, the 2 battles. So since then, I'm trying to leverage this bit of internet celebrity to try to forward my message and our president's message of American nationalism, and raise awareness about communism and neo-Marxism, Antifa, and leftist violence. And also all rolled in with that.
Say, Kyle. So, Kyle, let me see.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay? So your connection is like...
I can hear you.
Yeah, all of a sudden your connection is like getting really bad. So
okay,
it's kind of interesting. I want to make sure everyone is hearing what you're saying. So go ahead.
Okay. Just so you know.
Yeah, you see a lot of the liberal left. They always trying to use that to keep division, trying to keep us divided. And actually, because a lot of people that are on the right or call themselves conservatives, they listen to what the media says, and they automatically kind of like follow suit and start calling we start calling each other these hateful names, calling each other fascists and stuff like that. And I don't want to get into like a whole bunch of details, but when we had our United America First Peace rally, there was an incident at the end of it. I don't want to get into much detail about it. And because if you ever notice, when I do my lives and my videos, I don't ever talk about like kind of like drama that's going on. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know there was a conflict, because here I'm thinking that, that there's no conflict because we all love America. We all support America. And instead of people fighting one another, we should just be trying to get dialogue. So let me just ask you one question. If there was something that I could do, because I notice right now there's some kind of animosity, and I don't even know the whole story. And to be honest with you, I don't want to know the whole story, to be honest with you. But is there something that I could do to bridge that gap, to stop this? Because we need to come together more than ever. I mean, we need to be strong because we're stronger together, and we all support this country. I mean, I don't have beef with you. I don't have beef with other people. So I like to try to be like the mediator to bring us together and make us strong. So what can we do to like just squash it? Because we have to come together. These liberals don't do this.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't have an ongoing beef with that guy. As far as I'm concerned, it what happened after the rally, it's settled since then. So I don't have a personal ongoing beef with that guy. I'm ready to move past it. In regards to the divisions that we have across the board within the right. I don't know what you can do specifically, but what we can do as a group is we can stop the Nazi witch hunts. Stop hunting for Nazis and white nationalists and racists hiding under every rock. It's so tiresome to deal
agree.
with this. You don't know, man. My inbox, I run several different.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember when that first took place, I remember seeing it all over social media. And I'm not sure who took the picture, but someone took the picture and blew it up and blurred out with you holding the stick there.
Yeah.
And you had the mask on. And everyone's wondering, like, who's the guy under the mask? Who's the guy under the mask? I remember that. So let me ask you a question. So I noticed, do you think that, I know you're up against like the Antifa and the BAM and stuff like that. So you're coming out with a magazine or a comic book. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We're coming out with a comic book. It's just based Stickman. It's actually going to be more of a graphic novel than a comic book. I've got a great team of artists put together. Brett R. Smith, he was the colorist on Clinton Cash. That's the graphic novel that was based on Peter Schweitzer's book, Clinton Cash, detailing the corruption of the Clintons. I've got two-time Eisner Award winner Mike Barron, who is also working on it. He is the writer. I've got Don Jackson and a whole host of other guys. In fact, we just brought on a new artist by the name of Daishang. He is considered one of the most successful artists in China and Europe. One of the most successful comic book artists.
Nice.
And so, yeah, if you're interested, you can go to Base Stickman, the graphic novel, on Facebook, and you can get a better idea of what we're doing. We should have the Indiegogo campaign up and running within the next 3 weeks.
Okay, cool. Let's change speeds here a little bit. So I know a lot of people, because they gave you all these different labels, the different names like the alt-right, the alt-right, etc. When you listen to the liberal left, the first thing they say is that you guys are racist and that you're fascist. And you know what? And every time that I've talked to you, even before when you had the Berkeley rally, I had a conversation with you on the phone. And when I was at the Berkeley rally before, I never got that vibe from you. I never had that, that you were racist. You never approached me that way, and you never talked to me that way. So, I like to set the record straight. For anyone that doesn't know Kyle Chapman, every time I've had a conversation with him, he's never been.
This happens in a lot of my interviews.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, this happens in a lot of my interviews, man. So this is nothing new. It seems like there's somebody out there that is doing something to try to disrupt my interviews. This is probably the fourth time this has happened.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it seems to be okay right now. So we'll try to work it out. So what you were saying is that you have a lot of labels, not labels that you picked up yourself, but people just started calling you these different labels, like the alt-right, the alt-right, etc. Yeah, it looks like we're having a really bad connection with you there.
Yeah. See. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Not sure how long that's going to last.
We'll try to get through this. How's the connection? Are we blurry?
So far, you're okay.
Okay. So while I was in jail, within a couple days, a lot of really strong supporters, people came out and supported me. they created memes, and I became Base Stickman, the Alt Knight, Captain Texas. I mean, there's a bunch of names. Base Stickman is the one that seems to have stuck, so that's the one I'm rolling with. And I've taken the Alt Knight name, and what I've done with that is I've created a fraternal order. It's called Fraternal Order of the Alt Knights Folk, and that is a street action group that I'm forming here in the United States to, peacefully and defensively protect our right-wing brothers and sisters while they rally, march, and/or protest, and then to also confront the communists known as Antifa, BAM, anarchists, the anarchist black bloc, to confront those people and let them know we'll not stand down while they try to implement their evil ideology in our country.
So all this started out because of your incident that took place in Berkeley.
Correct.